Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, I feel like the Sixers gave us a little pre-Christmas treat on Wednesday night with that amazing win over the Timberwolves. Embiid looking phenomenal, just dominating. And obviously we're going to get into a little bit of that during the show. But what was your guys' takeaways from that pre-Christmas treat Embiid gave us on Wednesday?
He's balling. Yeah. Guess you could say that. Like, he's balling, he's playing well, and we wanted a guy, that superstar player that can dominate, and that's what he's doing. I mean, he's bringing it. So you just want to, you hope he can. He's shown that he can maintain it for a year. We just hope he can continue to carry it, that dominance for the season, and hopefully into a ring.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, said it best. I just enjoy the ride, enjoy the window while it's wide open right now with Embiid's prime.
Yeah, and we kind of hinted at this on the show, how Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp called us a dark horse, but like they continued that talk after that performance on Wednesday, saying, "Oh, we're a sleeper to come out of the East." So like I don't know. I don't really understand how we're a sleeper at this point. The only people sleeping on us is the talking heads on those shows. But
yeah, so stupid.
I mean, anything's a sleeper if that's not who they picked initially.
That's true.
So if you pick someone else, then that team has to be a sleeper in your eyes. But it just wasn't your choice. But it doesn't make them a sleeper.
Yeah.
They finished top 3 in the league last year, and they have the MVPs, and you lose James. Yeah, maybe because you lose James, but it wasn't like you left James in free agency. You lost James in free agency, and you didn't get anything in return. So, come on, it's made for television, basically.
Yeah. It just shows you how much, I guess, they thought we would crumble without Harden. That's the only explanation I can come up with.
Yeah.
Well, I know Stephen A. Smith, he has the kind of the bias with the Knicks, and I think he thought the Knicks were going to overtake the Sixers once with the kind of the stuff that was going on with Harden this year, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I think they also wanted it for a double duty, because if they ascended and we struggled, then the Embiid to Knicks rumors would just keep going and going and growing and growing.
Yeah.
No mas.
Nope, no more. All right, so we're gonna continue to talk about the Timberwolves game the other night. So another game versus the Timberwolves where Embiid and Maxey scored 86 out of our 127 points, and we didn't have a third double-digit score. I know we've talked about this on our last show, kind of the negative of that, of not having a consistent third scorer. But I kind of want to focus on the positive, and that's something that when we posted this the other day, people want us to talk more about the positive aspects of that, of having two guys like that. But I want to ask you guys, as of right now, we're talking 12-22, 2023, are Maxey and Embiid the best duo in the league currently?
I mean, they have an argument. It also depends on, are we just talking about this season? Or are we talking about career? Are we talking about the last few seasons? That's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? Like the question is, we're talking about this season. They're up there. Yes, they're definitely up there. If we're talking about what people have done in the last few years, they're up there, but they wouldn't be the top, because Maxey's so young. And we were talking about careers, then no, they wouldn't be one of the top ones, because you have some guys based on their whole career. Like, it's not a fair comparison yet. But right now in the league, this season, yes, they are one of the top. They're arguably the top duo in this league. You can make a valid point to argue that this season. So that's where I stand on it.
I went into this trying not to be biased. I don't want to look for like stats or reasons to justify why I think they are. I just want to kind of be like, all right, let's see what it shows, right? So just digging through tweets and just stats and Basketball Reference. And so number one offensive rating duo. The most 30-point games together. They have 6. Giannis and Lillard are the next closest one with 3, and Brown, Tatum 2, Luka, Kyrie 2, SGA, Chet 2. Efficiency ratings. Embiid's 1, Maxey's 13. The next best duo would be Giannis 4 and Lillard 12. If you're going by highest point per game duo, Embiid Maxey 62.2, Giannis Lillard 57.1, Booker Durant 58.9, Luka Kyrie 55.7. Combined assists, Maxey and Embiid 12.6. And this is one that you'd think like, all right, some of these guys will get a leg up on them. Kyrie and Luka 14.3, hardly even edging them out. Lillard and Giannis 12.4, less than them. Durant and Booker are 13.8 because Booker's been playing so much like point guard this year. So they edge them out. Box plus minus, Embiid and Maxey 18.5. The next closest duo is LeBron AD at 13.5. VORP highest in the league combined. It's crazy. It's I would say, yeah, right now. I mean, it's hard to argue against. They're just, every single game they combine for like 50 to 70 points easy. And like, it's and it doesn't even need to be a good game by one of them. They Maxey's had games where he's struggled and still put up like, 25 to 35. That is definitely the positive. I mean, yeah, there are the negatives of those bad games. He just keeps shooting, and I love that. I love that he's not afraid. I love that he keeps doing it. But yeah, a third double-digit scorer would be nice every so often.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, do they? I mean, they have guys that are capable of being the double-digit scorer. So, where their duo, where it's positive, it's some kind of question, because it's like if we look at all the other teams, maybe outside of the Mavericks, they have a duo, but they also have other guys that, like, if you add their numbers, they would make a big leap.
A trio.
Like Boston, we have. Or like in Boston's case, you can have 4 guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
5, actually. With Derek White.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like the Lakers, for instance. I mean, you didn't even mention the Lakers. So it's interesting. It's very interesting on when it kind of depends on the criteria for everything, just like almost everything else.
Yeah. And you're right. If we threw a third guy in there, I think we get beat by a lot of those teams. I mean, Suns are a little weird because Beal hasn't really been there. So who's our third leading scorer? Probably Nurkic. So that'd be pretty close. He's probably somewhat close to what Harris is. But if you threw like the big one would be the Bucks. Like you said, Boston's got so many guys. I mean, yeah, if you took as a total, I mean, they're just like, and then they lose a guy, the guy rests. One of their other guys steps up and becomes like an instant third scorer. Like Derek White, when anyone's out, scores like 20-25. So like, yeah, I mean, we definitely are lacking that, which is interesting because if you look at last year, between Maxey, Embiid, and Harden, the ball dominance is crazy, right? Between those three guys last year. But like we still were able to sustain Embiid's 33, Maxey's like 21, whatever, 20, and then Harden's like what, 20? So like we were able to do that last year with another guy who had the ball in his hands, probably even more than Maxey does this year.
The difference is the guy that had this ball in his hands the most was the guy that was looking to pass the ball primarily first.
Yeah,
that's true. So he was looking to pass and still get some shots. He wasn't looking to score 30 and then pass. That's the difference. That's the primary difference between Maxey. I would say that Maxey is looking to score first, and he's able to find guys. He's not looking to pass first. And that's who he is. Like, he's the guy that's going to score for you first. And that's the difference. So that's why guys may get a little more when the ball was in James' hands. Whereas Maxey is making plays, but he's making plays for himself first, and he's doing a good job at it. And he's shooting, especially from three, shooting it well. So it's hard to be like pulling back when he's doing it so well.
Yeah, because it's funny because while I am really happy with the increase in assists to make up for Harden's absence between Maxey and Embiid, which has been great, if you compare like last year to this year, so they have 12.6 combined assists. Last year they combined for 4.2, 3.5, so 7.7. So they added about 5 assists between them this year. That's really good, right? But James averaged what, like 11 or 12 last year? So we're still down 7 assists, 14 points that were given out to other people, usually Tobias. So like we're missing 14 points to other guys, which is probably, if you look at the math,
but now that 14 points is going to those two guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Maxey's up 6 points per game, and Embiid's up 2 points. So 8. It's close. It's really close.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so Kelly probably got the other points.
Yep.
He's a new guy.
Yep. He doesn't need assists. He just takes him and runs it up and jacks it.
And that's how you combine for the best duo in the league right there.
Yeah.
So kind of diving into more about Embiid's game on Wednesday night against the Timberwolves, against Rudy Gobert. 51 points against the guy who's probably one of the leading candidates and favorites to win Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. Embiid is now averaging over 34 points per game. In the last 4 years, he's averaging 31.4 points per game, which is amongst one of the best 4-year scoring stretches of all time. Others with similar numbers were Wilt, Baylor, Kareem, Harden, and Michael Jordan. So the question is, and this kind of stems from what Kelly Oubre post-game interview, where he said that Embiid is the best scorer of our generation. And his quote was, "You can quote me on that. I'm biased, of course, but at the end of the day, I'm riding with Joe." So my question to you guys is, I know we're not going to get into the generational debate or whatever, but do you guys think that Embiid is the best scorer of this era or generation?
What era are you talking about?
Modern,
like,
I guess.
Who are you including in that era?
Oh, let's say last.
Like where do you think this era would start? Like, what year would it start?
I guess with Oubre's,
because would LeBron James and Kevin Durant be in this era?
Yeah.
Let's quote Oubre. So let's see when Oubre started playing in the league.
Of our generation, yeah. So what year was that? 2017.
Oubre's first year was
2017.
2015, 2016. Been in the league for a while. So the last 8 years.
So we're comparing him to not KD and LeBron.
I mean, you are just like not their full career.
That's what I'm saying, because these dudes are top 10 scorers in NBA history. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, so I'd say LeBron from his second, it almost lines up. LeBron starting from his second stint in Cleveland. Pretty much. And Durant pretty much when he went to Golden State and on. These timelines are loosely lining up.
I mean,
so the last,
if you nail it down to a certain specific time when someone came in the league, you can make that argument. But I don't think anyone that has watched the guys that are playing right now, I wouldn't say that he's the best scorer of a generation. Like he's scoring the ball right now, but you have to take in people's whole career when you start talking about best score of a generation and careers. Like you have to do the whole career. We can't just pencil down specific years. So I don't know. That's a tough one. He's up there. He's one of the best scorers, but to say he's the best, that's very debatable.
I guess we'll see how he finishes this year, but we could say 4-year stretches. Because if you're looking at 4-year stretches,
that's what I'm saying. You talk about that's what I'm saying. If you talk about stretches, then yeah, I mean you can say that, but we can go take a lot of people's career and put them in stretches and say during this stretch they were the best. Like that's.
I was actually trying to do that. So yeah,
it's actually kind of depends on what narrative you're doing, like what narrative you're being a part of. So.
Yeah, I was trying to do that. What I was doing, I went to the top single season scoring averages of all time. And I pretty much just went to like the top like 15 guys and saw like their best stretches in their careers. And it came down to like Wilt, Baylor, Kareem, Harden, and Jordan, and then Embiid. I mean, even Kobe didn't have a stretch like this. And Kobe flat out score. I'm not saying he couldn't, but he never did this for 4 straight years of anything. He had like one blow up year. I think it was like 2000 and maybe 6 or 7 where he averaged like, I think it was like right after the post, like the near post Shaq. And he was averaging like 35 or something a game. But then, he came down a little bit after that. So like guys have had like blow up years and then they kind of come back down. Like, I mean, even if you look at LeBron's best stretch, probably 05 to like 08. And he averaged 29 during those 4 years, right?
What was AI's best stretch?
He had a really good one too, but even his were I think like 30. Let me see, Iverson. AI's best stretch. Let's go 4 years. Yeah, I mean he's I probably go here to here. Damn. I mean he had like a AI's was like a 6-year, 7-year stretch.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I mean, yeah, but 28 1 year, 31.1, 31.4, and then he had 27 and 26, and then back up to 30, then 33, and then 26, and then back up to 31 again. So he had a lot of kind of like, now I would say up and down because we're talking about 31 points a game and 27 points a game. So, but like we're talking about like guys that average. I mean, Embiid's at 28.5, 30.6, 33.1, 35.1. When you get to that like 35 level, that's the one I'm just like, whoa, like that's if he can sustain.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're like, then Wilt has to have some numbers that just blow it away. Then.
Oh well, yeah. Wilt's like a cheat code. Wilt's not even fair, and even like I mean, Jordan for a string of years, he averaged like 36, I think 1 year, 37, man. Jordan was just another cheat code, 37, 35, 32, 33, 31, 30, 32, 26, and then back up to 30 again. So that like 7-year period, just like crazy. I don't know. Marcus went somewhere.
When Jordan came down, that was probably the shortened year where he only play half of the year. Was that the half of the year season?
Yeah. That was a 17-game year. Yeah. Getting his bearings back, he was averaging 27. Getting his legs under him again. Like figuring things out.
In the middle of the seasons.
Yeah. It's like figuring it out. I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna join on the fly. It's like that major league clip where Willie Mays Hayes, Wesley Snipes comes from the parking lot and just beats everyone to the front line. It's crazy, man. I mean, we're talking about a guy who took 3 years off and then averaged 23 and 20. So it's like he's insane too. But yeah, all the other guys. I mean, I was looking at other guys too. I was like, well, how was Lillard's best 4-year stretch? But like, I mean, high 20s, Lure's a great scorer, but just not on this level. Even Curry. I mean, Curry's an amazing like scorer, but again, like he's only averaged 30 plus twice in his career. I mean, not to say he's incredible, but see, I would call Curry. I mean, he's not only a shooter, but I would say Curry's the best shooter of all time, not necessarily one of the best scorers of all time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I had a debate with someone about Steph Curry recently, and people were like, guy, he's obviously a Golden State fan. He was like, man, Steph Curry, he should be in the GOAT conversation. And I'm like, dude, like, first off, you guys are very loose with this GOAT conversation. Like,
yeah.
Can't put everybody in this conversation.
Yeah. Goats.
I said, Steph Curry is like my go-to guy when people want to say numbers and some of that stuff matter or don't matter.
Okay.
Because Steph Curry is one of the guys that when his career is over, the people that see him like now are watching can be like, man, he's one of the best to ever do it. But people that's coming later that never seen him play, they aren't going to believe it. Because when you look at his career numbers right now, he's not young. Now, he's what, year 13, 14?
Oh, yeah. He's what am I chatting about? He's 35.
He is 34th in scoring and 43rd in assists in NBA history.
Yeah, he didn't average over 20 till his mid-20s.
So that's what I'm saying. So when people come out and they start studying the game and they look and they be like, well, he's not even top this, or he's only 43rd, and you're saying he's one, but you had to watch him. Like he's like Isaiah Thomas. Like when people try to look at his numbers, like you had to watch him. So that's
would you put Paul in that category too?
And
for guys you had to watch to really understand how good they were, Chris Paul? Because Paul's numbers aren't like jaw drop.
Chris Paul's numbers don't really jump off the board as far as being the best to ever do it, but his numbers will show that he's been great at it. His numbers are going to go down now because of the end of his career. But
yes,
if you look at the span of his careers when he was really playing, he was really doing it. And he'll finish as a top 4 assist, top 5 assist guy. He's saying
3 right now.
Yeah, I'm saying he's third right now. That's what I'm saying. So he's already top 3. So you look at Steph, and people say it, but then that's what I'm saying. So people look at career stats when it's all over. They're going to look at career stats. And right now, at 35 years old, Steph is 34 in scoring and 43rd in assists. So like I said, you had to watch him to really feel it. So when people come later on and didn't see him play, they're going to wonder how. And people say, well, the shooter, like shooting is great, but if a guy makes a lot of threes and he's a great shooter, but he scores less than the guy that's just a score, does it really matter if the guy shot more if this guy scored more? You know what I'm saying? Like I think I'm not saying that 3-point shots. I think shooting is an excellent skill. I'm just saying the fact that someone's scoring, if they make threes, it's no different than someone that's not making threes. It's still scoring points. It may show you're a more skilled scorer, but it doesn't necessarily make you a better scorer.
Yeah. Longevity matters a lot too. That's a lot more than people will give it credit for. Like no one would ever guess that Robert Parrish is one behind Charles Barkley in the all-time scoring list. Like no one.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but like let's say games played matter because it's like you look at a lot of guys that has, like Magic Johnson is where he is, and I believe that at the time that I was showing the stat, at that time I think Steph had played one game to me, and Magic was wherever he is in assists, like 5 and Steph 43. And Magic played like one less game. So then you have a guy like Norm Nixon, who people would never put in that category. played 150 games less than Steph and had more assists.
Yeah.
So you can look at all of these stats and you can come up with whatever narrative you want to come up with.
Like, quick question for you guys:
So
Who do you think's higher on the all-time scoring list? Who do you think's higher on the all-time scoring list, Lillard or DeRozan?
Who's what?
Who's higher on the all-time scoring list, Lillard or DeRozan?
DeMar DeRozan, because Steph just passed DeMar DeRozan this year.
Yeah, but a lot of people would, Dame's got the flair and the name. A lot of people wouldn't say that.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of guys on that scoring list. Like it's like you look at James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Playing the same time as Steph, has more points, rebounds, and assists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are you going to say, well, they played more games? Well, LeBron James played 14,000 more minutes than Michael Jordan, 400 more games. So it kind of depends, like what. That's what I'm saying. You can dig into any stat and find the narrative that you want.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Going back to the original thing of stretches. Embiid's just on a crazy run right now. And it's, only like 5 or 6 guys can really rival that. It's very fun to watch, and I hope he finishes 35 plus this year. He's at 35.1 right now. I hope he can finish that high. Yeah. Elgin Baylor's another one. Elgin Baylor didn't have as long as a career as most guys because he started at 24 in the NBA. But if you take his 4-year stretch with LA in the early 60s, 34.8, 38.3, and 34.0, and then 25. But still, like that's 3 seasons
it's some old guys that I know that stand firm on Elgin Baylor scoring that ball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, man, because you and the thing about it is you look at scoring, most of those guys that we talked about didn't really shoot threes either, except for Harden.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. The top guys, Durant had a pretty good 3-4 year stretch. I put him in that.
Durant shoot threes, but Durant's not a primary 3-point shooter. Like he's a good 3-point shooter, but he's a excellent, arguably one of the best mid-range shooters we've seen.
Yes, yeah. DeRozan's a prime example of that. He doesn't like to take them. He doesn't take them. Yeah. It's all mid-range and drives. All of it. Hard earned throughout his career for that. I feel like on the grand scheme of things and scoring an all-time list, I think DeRozan's very, very overlooked and underrated as far as a career goes. I just don't think he gets a lot of the credit and due that someone of his career has had and his type of play. Very 90s-ish the way he plays the game in modern day.
Yeah.
But on top of all the stats, Embiid just has everything in his offensive arsenal. Because all the guys we named, most of them cannot just back you down and bully you down like that and just put the ball in your face. Most of those guys can't do that. LeBron can do it against, smaller threes that are playing against him, or undersized guys. But, Embiid's doing it against the premier big man at defense, right? He's doing it against the guy that if you were if your life depended on it, who am I going to put against Embiid to save my life? Gobert would probably be one of those guys you'd put up against him, and he just demolished him.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just think that that's what I'm saying. That's just another way of kind of looking at it because that's not necessarily, that's just because he's bigger. But what those other guys will say, well, I did it more from the perimeter. That could be harder. So that's what I'm saying.
If he does that too, he has probably one of the best mid-range jumpers in the league.
Everything looks. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, like he's still looked at as a bigger guy. So for him to go and pound into the basket is not something he's necessarily going to get credit for because that's how they view him. He's bigger than everybody.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I always thought, I'm not saying Gobert's an overrated defender. I think he's a good defender, but yeah, man, when you're going up against, I don't want to dog some of these guys, but yeah, go ahead and stop Nurkic. Great. Yeah, hold Nurkic to 12 points, Gobert. You get your Defensive Player of the Year award. That's why, personally, I was always defending Ben Simmons as the best defensive player when he was with Philadelphia, because every night Ben Simmons most likely guarded that team's best player because of his versatility. Every night. So on nights when he's guarding DeRozan and then he guards LeBron and then Luka, you got Gobert guarding Jakob Poeltl over there. Okay, so it's like,
yeah, the and you all know, I Bleav I've said it on the show before, like the defensive voting, or the award, voting for the defensive award is flawed, in a major way. I played 7 years here with Sixers and got more votes than AI one time. Like, come on, that's like me getting more votes than him on the offensive end. One time out of 7. Like, come on, man. Like if I said that, then I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, even AI wouldn't even do that. Like, we used to we laughed at that when he got more votes than me. Like that was like hilarious to him. So it just shows like the voting is flawed, and there's really no criteria for the voting. So what you were saying is Ben is going out guarding guys, and you're looking at him as who he's defending one-on-one or defending whoever his matchup is every game, where Gobert's is more of rim protection, the rebounding, changing shots, and it's not necessarily the one-on-one aspect of it. So it's the criteria. You know what I'm saying? Where it's so different. Like, people don't view it kind of how you are viewing it as far as a guy and who you're matching up with every night and how well you do against that guy. And that's where it's different. And that's where, the voting is different, because there's no criteria based on how you should vote or what you should look at in your voting.
Defensive versatility. I've seen Gobert pulled from games because of the game plan that the offense put out.
The teams were attacking him. Yes.
I never saw Ben. Never saw Ben pulled.
Yes. To go back to like my point with us, like AI he was very high in assists. So, that to a lot of people could mean a lot defensively. You know what I'm saying? So what's your criteria? But for him, it's been a lot of times where Gobert has been taken out the game because of teams putting him in pick and roll and stretching their offense, and all of a sudden you're pulling him away from the rim. So his effectiveness does decrease when that happens. So that doesn't mean he's not a great defender. That just means the team has kind of found an edge,
neutralized him.
And I think at the end of the day, a lot of teams maybe did him a disservice by doing that, because most of the times when teams would do that, they would go small.
Yes.
But then they would never give him the ability to attack them on the other end. And yes, you got to take him out if you're not allowing him to benefit from the smaller guys on the other end, and then they're stretching the defense and pulling him out so he can guard perimeter guys and taking him away from the rim. So that's if he was able to be dominant on the offensive end, they would never take him out. They would figure it out.
But my thing is, if you can be neutralized, and this isn't me saying he's a bad defender by any means, obviously not, but if you can be neutralized, I don't think you should be coming away with a best defensive player in the league trophy. You shouldn't be able to be neutralized.
A lot of bigs can be neutralized. Like Joel can be neutralized too. Like you can go small and put him in trouble. Like we just watched the Chicago Bulls do it time after time after time. And so what did Minnesota do? They did the same thing. Kept putting him in pick and pops and stretching the pick and pop. and putting all shooters on the perimeter. Like they just did the same thing. But the difference is they can't put a small guy on Joel on the other end. So he punishes them. That's what I'm saying. So you can't do it because of you're worried about him on the other end. That's why you can do it with Gobert. Because they aren't worried about him as far as putting a bigger guy and making sure you have this certain defender for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think another aspect we didn't even talk about, I know we went off the Defensive Player of the Year stuff, but I know it's a defensive award. I don't think they factor in offense at all, though. And what I mean by that is Gobert pretty much says, I'm going to focus 90% of my energy on defense, and my points will come from mismatches and lobs and tip-ins. Whereas Embiid's like, it's my job to score 35 a night and then come down and get 3 blocks and 2 steals a game. I have to expend all that energy on offense and still do what I do on defense on a nightly basis. I can't take plays off. I can't just sit at the bottom on the paint and wait for a tip to get my energy back. I'm expending energy every single time down both sides.
Yeah, I don't think that comes into play for the voting.
No way.
But I think it comes into play for people getting the claim to be a top player or top two-way player. It comes into play for that, but it does. I don't think it comes into play for the voting. I don't think people will say, "Well, what is his low offensively and his expectations for what he has to bring to the team?" It may come into some people's vote like, "Well, look at his load and look at what he does on the defensive end." I know there was a point where I felt like Giannis was viewed like that. So it's happened. So I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's like people are thinking about that when they're voting.
No. Well, this goes back to what you're saying. The criteria is flawed. There is like no real criteria. It's like Wild West.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of voting, Embiid is the early favorite to win the MVP right now. And the straw poll was just released yesterday. Surveyed 100 media members from across the league. Embiid received 63 first place votes and 27 second place votes.
63?
But it's a substantial lead right now.
Man.
This was out of 100, you said?
100 media members.
Dude, come on.
He had 63. What number was number 2? Did you know? How many votes?
Jokic had 21 first place votes.
Yeah, that's a big difference, though.
Yeah.
63 in second place is 21. That's a big difference.
I see it as pure percentages. I just wish that would be. I just wish that'd be higher. I just can't believe that almost 40% don't think he's the top candidate for MVP. That sounds crazy when you break it down like that.
40%. It don't surprise me. Yeah, it don't surprise me because you were MVP last year, so.
But that didn't matter for Jokic 2 years in a row.
That's what I'm saying. But we know how that go, though. But people were saying that. I believe Jokic is getting votes. I believe a guy like Luka is getting votes. So it doesn't surprise me that spread. That's why I was asking where number 2 was. So if number 2 is 21, that's telling me that those other, almost 20 votes could be between maybe 2 players instead of 1. So I think that number is going to go down as the season goes on. Like I really do.
Oh yeah, he's averaging 35. Unless he sustains 35 a game, and we're like top 3 seed.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I just think that him being MVP last year eventually is going to catch up with some voters. I don't know, and I think a lot of Joel's is also going to have to do with our team. Our team is going to have to stay one of the top, or he doesn't get the benefit.
I'd say top 3 East. Then I
think some other guys can win. Yes, I think some other guys can win it being a 4 or 5 seed, but he can't.
I think Jokic did win it when he was a 4 or 5 seed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The first year he won.
I think people can. I just don't think we can.
Yeah.
I just don't think we can. Joel can.
Oh, it's we, Eric. It's we.
Yeah.
I mean, last year this time we were fighting
Interesting.
for Embiid to be number one in this. Right now he's dominating this pool, so I mean I think we should be happy with that.
Yeah, but it goes to show you though.
Teja wants more over here. The guys, I mean, he's dominating this pool.
Because it goes to show you when it's close between him and someone else, then I'm like, okay, let's see what it's at. Oh man, it's pretty tough. Like he is. I mean, I've seen media haters of Embiid, previous media haters that are saying it's not even a question. Like it should be unanimous, like domination right now.
But
if he's not plus 70 now, dude, I mean, like what does he do? Average 40 a game?
But based on the point system they have with this, so it's they tie the first and second place votes, but the point system, Embiid has right now 848 total points. Jokic has 630 points. Giannis is third with 352, SGA 340, and then Luka rounds out the top five with 306. So I mean, he's got almost 300 points over Jokic right now. About 220.
Because here's
the crazy thing: I haven't done Jokic's stats, but Embiid won last
in
year.
December. But in December, that's a big gap.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. It's really early. But yeah, I mean, he's having one of the best like stretches of the last like. Some of those stats were comparable to Wilt.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What's that one we saw yesterday, Marcus? That Wilt stat? Or no, Kareem. It hasn't been done since like the 70s with Kareem. It was like 40 point, like 12 plus rebound games or something.
I forget what I think it was it straight games at 30 points in 10 30. Boards?
It was something like that.
Rebounds, yeah.
Hasn't been done in like 50 years. 50-year record, 50-year stats.
Kareem and Wilt did it. Yeah, Kareem and Wilt did it.
Any triple-double stat that Jokic is doing. Yeah, yes. I think that's what it was. Any Jokic stats that he's getting, that he's broken with triple-doubles, he broke from like Westbrook from like 5 or 6 years ago, okay? We're talking about stats that have been around for 50 years. Like that right there should just open eyes and be like, okay, well, that's, when you're breaking stats 50-plus years, he's the MVP. Like it's not even a question, unless their team's just garbage, but we're not. So I don't know.
But you also we have to understand that whatever that narrative is you know what I'm saying, like they don't appreciate Kareem like they should nowadays.
That's true.
So when you say a stat from Kareem or from Wilt, they have tried to diminish their greatness in some ways, in my opinion. People have had, because of how they played and they didn't shoot the three and they didn't do, so people have tried to diminish their greatness.
And the era, right? The era is related too, right? But here's the thing, though, right? It's crazy because Embiid's doing something that a Wilt or Kareem era did, but he's doing it in this impossible to play era. That's the crazy thing. He has 1970 stats in 2023. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that the stats that he's doing isn't necessarily unattainable now. I think they're easier to do it now than some eras. It's just the level of how many games he's done it consistently. Like guys getting 30 and 10 way more now than I've seen in my lifetime. It's just that him being able to maintain that for such a stretch of games is so it's more the stretch of games than the numbers. Yeah.
Well, it comes to the point where it's just like that's just him this year. Like it's not even that. Oh, he's had a good little run. It's like no, he's just out of his mind. So
the question is, the question is, when the streak breaks, is it going to be points or rebounds?
Ooh,
that's my question for you two.
So you probably rebounds.
Oh, so you're saying will he be
under 10 rebounds or under
10 or under 30?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man, that's a good one.
I'm gonna say rebound just because I think that's more of an emphasis for him, and I could see him not do that one night.
As of right now, looking at his stats, it was off by one game. He had less than 10 rebounds more recent than he had under 30 points. But But you're saying going forward, yeah, I'm gonna say he just shoots so many. I'm gonna say points.
What you say, Marcus?
I said rebounds.
You said rebounds?
Rebounds, yeah.
What do you think?
I'll say points because I think eventually someone's going to come and double him off the bus.
Yeah. I mean, he's even not playing fourth quarters. Like he's missed like 7 fourth quarters.
Yeah, you'll have a road game where somebody's just doubling him and really like we're not going to. If we're going to lose, we're going to lose by everybody else, not him.
Yeah,
that's what I believe will happen.
Go figure his under 30 point game from him. The last 2 under 30 point games from him are versus Boston. Both of them. Rough.
Yeah. But right now we'll take him being the early favorite for this. He just needs to sustain this kind of level of play and also just be healthy. And I think we continue to win. And I think we'll have two in a row for him. But knock on wood. All right, so we're going to get the game picks here. So tonight we are hosting the Toronto Raptors. And right now we are favored by 8.5 points. We played them 2 times this year. We beat them both times. One was before the Harden trade. We still had Tucker on the squad. And the other one was after the Harden trade. Do you think we win tonight? And do you think we'll cover the spread tonight?
I think we will win. I don't think we'll cover. I'll say no on the cover.
I agree. I think we've beaten them 1 or 2. We beat them by 10, I believe. And we beat them by 7 and then 15. The 7 was at Toronto. The 15 was at Philly. I think they get a little more competitive. I think Siakam probably has a better game. I think he struggled against us both games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he usually gives it to us pretty good. So I expect a bounce back from him, and I think they'll be a little more competitive tonight.
Scotty Barnes, both games against us, dominated.
Yes, he has. He took the Siakam role against us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Eric, you'd rather go? Would you rather go Sixers winning or Toronto like plus like 14?
Well, he doesn't think we cover. So of course.
Oh, you don't think we covered? Okay, so yeah, I guess you would take plus 14. Yeah. But how confident would he bet on the minus plus 8? Then is the question. Yeah, exactly. It's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Plus 14, or if you had to bet on it, if you was to say, here's $350, but you have to bet, Eric, would you do plus 14 or Sixers winning?
I would do whichever one pays the most.
Okay.
I'm confident with either one of those.
Okay. Interesting.
So Sixers winning would be minus 355. That's 50 to win. You bring back $14 there, but it's if you said 14 or 14 and a half, Teja?
14.
14. 14 would be. Oh, actually, yeah, minus 295 for plus 14. So that would bring back $16.
There you go.
So slightly a little bit more for Raptors plus 14 there. All right, so we're going to get to our final game. This is a Christmas Day game, prime time, 8 p.m. on Monday. So, get to open your gifts, eat some food. Our Chiefs play that day, so we get to watch the little Chiefs in the morning. Hopefully they win the Raiders game and then watch the Sixers dominate the Heat Monday night. So you know where I'm going with that game. But Sixers are actually a 1.5-point underdog in the game at Miami on Monday night. So I want to ask you guys, do the Sixers win, or are we getting a lump of coal on this Monday night game, Christmas Day game against Miami Heat?
Well, yeah, I think this is where we fall to defeat on the holiday and tough game. Great place to visit. I don't think we pull it out.
Too great. Question is, when do they arrive? Do they arrive on Christmas Eve or do they arrive on Christmas? Because if they have a night in Miami,
I'm sure they go Christmas Eve.
Well, then
I'm sure they go Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve in Miami. Forget about it.
You can't go Christmas Day. Like, you can't go the day of. Like, something may happen with the flight or something.
No.
You just
2-point underdog screams they want you to take us, considering how well we're playing. I think we probably lose that game. Yeah, unfortunately.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, the line scared me more than anything. If you just told me, like, who do I think is going to win that game without any, like, Vegas stuff, I'd probably say us, but how well we're playing.
So what's weird about this line is, so if you look at DraftKings or any of the sports betting apps, this was one of the, all the Christmas Day games they've had, like the line for this one, for you can actually go to it. That line's come actually down from +3, which it opened up at, to now +1.5. So it's come down 1.5 points since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, because they knew they were flying to Miami this entire
Miami
time.
Probably has some guys. Miami probably has some guys that's been out, and they don't know if they're going to play. I don't know. I haven't looked at Miami.
Yeah, every game they got someone else out.
Well, Hero just came back,
but he also, even when he's come back, I think he's missed a game in between his comeback. They're taking it easy on their guys for sure.
So, so both you guys are going Miami and I'm going Philly. So
of course you are.
Chiefs and Philadelphia parlay on Christmas. That's the Christmas parlay there, guys.
Yeah, me too.
But all right, guys. Well, we hope everyone, our listeners and viewers, has a really great holiday and a Merry Christmas. Eric, Teja, I'll be seeing you for Christmas, but Eric, I want to wish you and the fam Merry Christmas, my man.
Absolutely.
Likewise, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Appreciate you guys. Take it easy, fellas.
Later on.
All right.